Welcome to the Troll Priest Healing Guides. My name is Estrus from TrollPriest.com, and in this video I will be discussing the Lord Marrowgar encounter in the Icecrown Citadel raid. This fight consists of two alternating phases, each requiring quick reflexes and healer focus in order to survive death-free. During the first phase, Marrowgar will remain stationary facing the player with the highest threat, and will repeatedly cleave the tank and the two targets nearest to the tank. This ability, called Bone Slice, deals 300% weapon damage and requires 3 tanks in the 25-player version, and 2 tanks in the 10-player version of the raid in order to properly distribute the massive blows. The tanks will have to stack on top of each other in order to ensure they receive the cleave damage, and not one of the nearby melee. One tank should be assigned to keep a threat lead, while the other 2 simply DPS and absorb cleaves. Keep Renew rolling on each tank, and if your Discipline Spec, ensure each tank has a fresh power word shield every 15 seconds. Any and all extra heals should be funneled into the tanks during this phase, as they will be taking a great deal of melee damage. Keeping Prayer of Mending bouncing and on cooldown will help considerably, as the spell will typically bounce between the tanks until it expires. Periodically throughout Phase 1, Marrowgar will cast an ability called Bone Spike Graveyard. This will impale 3 players, dealing damage at regular intervals and immobilizing the targets. A powered shield or empowered Renew cast should be enough to stave off the damage, provided the DPS quickly burn down the spikes. It may be a good idea to set up your raid frames to show the impaled debuff, so you can quickly react to spiked players. Since Impale renders players unable to cast spells, it may be a good idea to pre-shield and renew yourself when you notice Marrowgar casting Bone Spike Graveyard, in case you get targeted. The final ability to be aware of in Phase 1 is Cold Flame. Bluish flames will regularly interrupt from the boss, and travel in 4 different directions at once. It is possible to entirely avoid the flames by standing within Marrowgar's hitbox, but tanks and hunters may still be caught in the flames from time to time. Being spatially aware and reacting quickly to changes in the boss's position will go a long way to help nullifying the effects of this encounter mechanic. Keep Pain Suppression and Guardian Spirit ready during Phase 1, as even the smallest slip-up can quickly result in a tank death. Every 45 seconds or so, Marrowgar will cast Bone Storm, transitioning into Phase 2. During this phase, Marrowgar will spin into a frenzy and begin charging random targets. The closer you are to Marrowgar, the more damage you will take. It is therefore a good idea to get as far from the boss as possible as soon as he begins casting Bone Storm. This phase lasts about 20 seconds, during which time Marrowgar will no longer target the tanks, but instead will deal an enormous amount of raid damage. As Discipline, pre-shield the raid as much as possible before the phase begins. As the raid begins taking heavy damage, spam borrowed time boosted Prayer of Healing casts to keep the raid topped off. As Holy, pre-renew the raid to the same effect, and once Bone Storm begins, target the groups taking the most damage with Serendipity boosted Prayer of Healing casts. Keeping Circle of Healing and Prayer of Mending on cooldown during this phase is a must. Phase 2 is an ideal time to use Divine Hymn. While very mana intensive, Lord Marrowgar is one of the shorter encounters in the Icecrown Citadel raid, so make use of Shadow Fiend and Hymn of Hope early. Keep a mana potion handy in case you find yourself too low too early. More information about healing this encounter can be found at TrollPriest.com. If you are watching this on YouTube, you should find a link directly to the strategy forums in the information below. Thank you very much for watching, and good luck.